So, hey, everybody, this is Steve Miller, better known as Kelly's dad, marketing gunslinger, and my cohort in crime, the David Loomis. Thank you for joining me again today, Mr. Loomis. Always a pleasure, sir.
Always a
pleasure. And welcome to the B2B Marketing and Sales podcast. We are doing our level best to have conversations that are easy to follow, easy to listen to, and not long. You know, we're looking to aim for about a 20-minute type of thing here, so that you can listen to it where, you know, in your car or on your smartphone or whatever the heck you use.
Working out. A walk around the block.
Working out. That's what else I was thinking, right?
Yeah, I think you were thinking
but
that.
Actually, no, I wasn't thinking that. But thanks anyway. But I wanted to, since I open, and we kind of have this thing where, like, whoever opens is also kind of in charge of the topic. So I open, and so the topic that I want to talk about today is branding. And I want to talk about it from the perspective of what people kind of misunderstand about branding, and what you think about it, Dave.
Yes.
I know you. You're friends with Jim Gilmore.
And I am. He wrote The Experience Economy,
mm-hmm.
and it's a great book, by the way, with Joe Pine.
Right.
And
the book I should have written.
Jim, yes, it's the book you should have written.
That's right. And if you're listening to this, Jim, or watching this, I still say it's the book I should have read. Anyway, but you did write it, so
Jim has has great definition of brand, which is my favorite brand, which is the promise of an experience.
Right.
And when I attributed that quote to him in my own book, he told me that he got it from someone else. So, you know, there's nothing new under the sun.
Nothing new under the sun, you know, and it's interesting too. But yeah, I find that interesting because there's like for example, and I will throw this out to everybody. I am known for a phrase that I say that kind of also fits in with branding too, and that where I say that where value is clear, the decision is easy. And I have been saying that for probably 25 years or something. Now, I assume I either heard that somewhere, you know, or heard something like that somewhere. And I have tried to do attribution. And I have not been successful in finding an answer. So if anybody out there knows where that came from, please let me know. All right. So let's talk about your that a brand is an experience.
Yes, a promise of an experience.
A promise of an experience.
That implies that you have, I guess, experienced it, and or you've come in contact with some communication that has described to you to set your expectations for what the brand will deliver, and then it has to deliver it, or it falls short of your expectations.
Yeah, very much so. I often tell my clients that your branding proposition is your promise, like you're talking about, right? It's your promise to the marketplace, because the way I see it is we do not own. Now we do not own our brand. All right. Now, and I'm not talking about the logo. I'm not talking about the icon that so many of you have spent way too much money to get. I'm talking about the promise that you are making to the marketplace. You're saying our brand is this, right? And exactly what Dave just said is that we are making a promise to the marketplace, and that's all we can do. Now, do we back up that promise? And I think that what happens with that is that people then, if they hear your promise, okay, and you say, "Oh, we are the best in the world," right? And then they have some type of contact with you, some kind of an engagement. Now they go into that with this promise that you've said to them that we are the best in the world, and now they have some type of touch point with you. Well, as a result of that touch point is either going to reinforce that that promise that reinforces to them, that you're the best in the world. Yeah. It enhances, it might enhance it, mm-hmm. or it diminishes it. Or as you said, do you live up to your promise?
Right. And I guess the reason we don't own that brand in the way you described is because it's a perception. So in each individual customer's mind, because of their perception of whether you lived up to it or not, whether you exceeded it, it was neutral, or diminished. And I think the thing that we don't pay quite enough attention to is our ability to curate that brand experience. We think a lot about that logo that you talked about and the colors and the graphics and then what's on the website. And we get away with saying, well, that's our brand and that's branding and so forth. But if we can expand that definition to include every single contact with the customer being that sort of moment of truth, and a chance for us to prove our promise. And we think about, man, how can we really make this a special experience? I love to think about all the senses. This doesn't apply in every business, but it's surprising how it can. But what can you do from a sight, sound, touch, feel, smell, even? Starbucks is a perfect example on the B2C side of something that they intentionally curate all of those senses.
Yeah, I love telling the story of the popcorn, or not the popcorn machines too, but the bakery on Main Street in Disney World and Disneyland. Okay, when you walk down Main Street and you walk by the bakery and you just smell this wonderful smell of freshly baked cookies or cake or something like that, and the fact of the matter is, there are no ovens in that store. There's no stoves. It is aroma being, and if you look right above the entrance to the store is a vent, and that vent is pushing the smell out. Same with the popcorn machines, that have vents on the side of those carts, the carts out there in the world, and they are actually injecting the smell of popcorn into the air to encourage you to come in and get some stuff. So, like you say, I mean, you can use aroma as a great way of selling a brand or communicating a brand or engaging and stuff like that. And you made it, you kind of alluded to it also, where, and I believe that everything walks the talk. When I talk about that contact, that touch point, literally everything, the way you answer your phone, whether you do answer your phone.
Absolutely. Yes, most definitely. And you can chart out all of those, you can map out all those possible customer contacts, and then you can think through, what do we do for the customer at this time, and really think about it and be intentional about fixing that.
Be as intentional as possible, right?
Yeah. I think the other thing that's really interesting is how, and there's many books, a lot of them are behind me here because we were talking about branding books before this, but how there's a lot of great advice out there on elements of your brand that make brands successful. And whether you want to call it a cult brand or, something like that, there's, I hate to say formula, but there's some, when you deconstruct it and you look at some companies like Apple or Coca-Cola or some, there's some very common elements, and, it may be controversial, but some authors have compared it to religions and the elements of a religion that help resonate with a person. So, these are things like the creation story. well, gosh, everybody knows about Apple now, and then it was created in the garage, and and then the next thing, and then there was a hero, Apple, and the little guy at the time, and there was a demon, right? IBM, big guy fighting. So the PC versus Apple, and then there was a person, who's a figurehead, who's the founder, who has a story, and it's on and on. But there's a lot of things that you can do that probably exist already. You wouldn't be making it up. They exist, but do we tell our story in a way that, really makes a brand strong?
I agree with that. A number of my clients, I have found that their origin stories, and I love hearing dogs bark. I'll tell you what, I am such a dog person. I just love hearing dogs bark. FedEx, the origin story of FedEx, like you say, the origin story of Apple, Hewlett Packard. These companies all have these fantastic origin stories, and they are not afraid to use them, in their messaging and in what I call building the myth. Because people will only, personally connect when they can also in some way emotionally connect. Now, that's normally hard to do with a brand.
I also look at brands that I love, and there are some B2B brands like Caterpillar, for instance, that do accomplish this, that because their brand is so strong and it resonates with the person who's a user of that brand, actually lives their life a little bit differently because of it. They're inspired to be tougher. Whether it's Nike, just do it and I'm going to try harder in sports, or whether it's Jeep and I'm going to be more adventurous, or it's Subaru and I'm going to be, environmentally conscious, or whatever it is. That's amazing when you can actually get someone, the people who you sell to feel like they're part of an exclusive group. Harley Davidson.
Yeah, they are, it's kind of like what we talked about with John Jantz. You and I had a conversation with him in another podcast of the idea that the customer as a member, and not just members, but they're members of a club that they want to be a part of. And maybe not everybody belongs in that club, and you sort of know, right? Oh yeah, you should be this type of you should be somebody who rides a Harley Davidson, right? Or you should be somebody who drives a Jeep or something like that. And so that's the club you should be in, right? And people kind of get that.
Yeah, I think they do, and so it's fun to see. And actually, there's a lot of low hanging fruit in the B2B world, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think Caterpillar was a great example in there because the cat. The cat logo, the hats, the clothing and stuff like that. It's very, if you look at it, it's very parallel to a lot of, like the Harley Davidson type of thing. That Harley is a community. Harley is a family.
Right.
Harley, Harley is you become a tough guy, right? When you put your leather on.
Well, part of it also is, and I would challenge folks out there who are listening, do you get your users together? Do you get your customers together?
Mm-hmm.
Or I've you and I have both organized customer conferences for our clients, I'm sure. And those can be very powerful. They scare companies.
Yeah.
Because they're like, oh no, if they get together, they're going to talk about all the terrible things about us. But they get together and talk about all the great things.
That's exactly what they do. We actually had a club of customers that we formed, and it lasted I think 22 years.
That's outstanding.
Yeah. It just ended up people started retiring. so so that I mean, and it was awesome. And it was like what you say, they didn't talk about how bad Steve was or anything like that. They talked about how great it was. It ended up growing my business tremendously by having that club. And the branding was part of that, it helped to reinforce the brand that I wanted people to have of me. And I'm sure that's the way it has been with you and your events. If you're I'm going to kind of pivot just a tiny bit. God, I hate that word. I'm going to pirouette here for just a second to say, like, now let's imagine you're a new company. Do you have steps that you help people to develop a brand in the beginning? Are there things that you advise them just to do?
Yeah, sure. I mean, to be conscious of those ingredients that we talked about, as in telling your story, your creation story, and putting the founder or whoever, front and center, and defining the value proposition as you hope it will be, as you expect it will be over time. Then that value proposition is defined by the customers too. You have to deliver, but you have to come up with your intended brand promise, which is actually extremely strategic if you think about it. Mm-hmm. Because are you going to steal you're starting a company and assuming that there's competitors, right? Are you going to steal their exact positioning and their brand promise? No, you're going to try and find some white space and finagle yourself into a unique selling proposition, right?
Right.
So I guess you hope to find that.
Yeah, and I think it also has a lot to do with the type of culture that you want your company to have. I mean, because your brand can be fun, your brand can be daring, like Virgin, the Virgin brand.
Absolutely, or you're a B Corp. What if you're a B Corp and it's all about sustainability? That literally from the get-go defines who your company is, and a lot of times who your customers, are.
Right. So once again, we very quickly run out of time. This is, these conversations, so far we've had a few, and they're really, I think they're really fun. And my goal is that I want us to share good stuff, things that you might not be thinking about. I don't know if you have any comments you'd like to make about that too, Dave. Please interrupt me if you do. No, you're just shaking your head. Oh, wait, you just went silent on me. So
we hope to get the wheels turning for everybody. Yeah. And at some point, maybe we'll figure out a way to get some interactivity into our process here too.
Yep, that would be great. And if you like listening to this, then please like us, wherever the like button is.
Yes, please do.
Please do that.
Tell your friends in marketing. Yeah. It's a small knit group of B2B marketers.
That's right. B2B marketers are a fairly small group, and we're trying to help you guys get a little outside of your own heads and marketplaces while we're doing this. So thanks again for joining us. I am Steve Miller, better known as Kelly's dad and marketing gunslinger, and you are
the Dave Loomis.
The Dave Loomis.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. The Dave Loomis. I'll tell you what, you did get that URL, right?
In about 5 minutes.
Okay. If you don't, I'm going to get it. So
okay.
See you guys. See you next time.
Take care.